Greetings, everyone in the second, third, and higher dimensions. Welcome to Channel Otherdoc. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns. And today we're playing Fate Accelerated. We'll be doing a scenario I put together a few years back called A Night at the Gallery, in which all the PCs are from well-known paintings. Let's go around and introduce everyone and find out who they are playing today. Let's see. I'm going to start. I will start at the top and work my way around clockwise. So we will start with Jane. Hello.
Hey there. I'm Jane. Celador10 on Twitter. And are we saying what? I mean, I guess our paintings are up there. So I'm playing Whistler's mother, aka Mrs. Whistler, in this game.
Yay.
And I'm very excited to be troublesome.
I am excited too. And let us move on to Josh. Hello.
Hello, I'm Josh Burnett. I'm Bernie the Flump on most of the things. And I am playing The Son of Man by Magritte.
Excellent. And let us move along to Susan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan White. I'm from the Dice for Brains podcast. I'll be playing Blue, which is a little boy who's dressed in extremely fancy clothes, and he's going to be an obnoxious little twerp.
Excellent. And moving around, continuing clockwise, Janaya. Hello.
Hello. I am Janaya, and I am going to be playing Dora Maar, which is a portrait of a female photographer done by the Cubist Picasso.
Excellent. And finally, Elise.
Hey everyone, so my name's Elise. You'll see me as D&D Elise on Twitter, a Grip of the Green on Twitch. I am a DM skilled writer and streamer. Today I am playing Pearl, which was painted by Johannes Vermeer. Hope I'm saying that right. So yeah.
Excellent. Cool. All right. So this scenario is a little bit weird. I'll get into that in a minute. As you probably guessed, this scenario is going to be a little weird. But first off, this game is meant to be whimsical, but I am a fan of dark humor, just fair warning, and there are a couple of things that might get a little graphic. So just so you folks will know, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for you, any of the players can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that you're okay having in the game, but you don't want a graphic description of it, just type an N in the Zoom chat and we'll fade to black on it, or we'll put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if you're in the midst of intense role-playing and you think we might be worried you're really upset out of character, you can put an O in the chat to let us know you're okay, that we're good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is you can put an O with a question mark after it when we say or do something, and then think, maybe that was a little too much. Is that okay? Then everyone else can respond to that to let us know if we're still doing okay. So while we're probably going to be, it's entirely possible these characters might get tormented a bit. We don't want to do that in real life. So just want to make sure we can all just relax and have a good time. So let us get into this thing. As you may have suspected, I self-describe it as a very strange scenario, so I should explain kind of a little bit about how this goes. First off, just mechanically, Fate is a game that can handle a lot of different things. We're playing this, as I said, in Fate Accelerated, and so you have a couple of aspects that I filled in. And then you get, the players each had one more aspect that they could fill in as well, that's based on whatever their interpretation is. And then there's another aspect you might see on the sheet, the painting aspect. And what that is that just is, that's an aspect without words. It is a picture. It's your painting. So if at any point, if you want to invoke your painting as an aspect, just based on whatever's in it, you may feel free to do that. Similarly, every scene that we encounter that takes place inside a painting is going to have that painting as its scene aspect. So that's something where it's if there's something about the painting that we're currently in that you want to invoke as an aspect, we can do that. And that's pretty much how this is going to go. This is the first time I've run this scenario in something like 4 years, so this is just decided to drag it back out of mothballs since I've started doing stuff on Twitch, and I thought it would be interesting for it. This will also be the first time I'm using multiple screens in Roll20, so things are going to be shifting around quite a bit. Let me briefly explain now the nature of reality. Just real quick. In this scenario, the idea is that
Not an expansive topic at all.
Nah. There's not much to it.
It's pretty easy.
Basically, the idea is that over time, people have poured their imaginations into these paintings that they see. A painting goes up in an art gallery, and people automatically have associations with it the moment they see it. They think different thoughts about it. This game takes place on the landscape created by people's collective imaginations. So you all exist as entities that sort of came into being as a result of people imagining that they should be there. The more that people, the more eyes you have on you, the more kind of powerful, quote unquote, you are as a personality, the more space you have in your personal world. One thing, like, for example, that well, no one's playing the Scream this time, interestingly enough, so I usually use the Scream as an example. But say, for example, Whistler's mother is typically pictured inside indoors somewhere. Presumably she's in a house somewhere. So as part of your personal reality, the painting itself is just what you see. But then, she has the ability to walk around and go to places in her house and do things. That's part of her. She's probably got quite a large estate at this point because she's so well known. And that's where it is. Now, once you start getting into the area between that painting and the next, and that's the interesting thing about putting a painting in an art gallery, you can put two paintings next to each other that have absolutely nothing to do with each other, but in people's heads, now they do. So the landscape will connect. You can visit other paintings, and you can visit areas between paintings, common areas, that are created by the landscape. It just sort of the imaginary landscape. It just sort of shifts from the one into the other, and sort of it gradually changes over, and you can get over to another painting. Now, obviously, this would be very upsetting if you did this while people were looking at you. So you can only really do this at night. Generally, when someone is looking at your painting, A, you need to be there. That's the important thing. Show up to work on time. But B, it's kind of like you don't really, you're not really moving forward in time or anything at that point. It's kind of no time passes for you. You're just there, but you're absorbing sort of that energy that they're investing in you. So it's fine. Now, if they look at a painting and you're not in it, then that's going to shrink your world down real fast if that happens. Now, we're not really going to have to worry about that so much because this is taking place at night. I will say it's in an art gallery in the near future. None of these paintings... Now, if you're in the audience now and you're an art student and you're looking at this and you realize that these paintings are not all in the same gallery, congratulations, you are correct. This is in the near future, at a time when these paintings are all in the same gallery. They do all happen to be on tour. They happen to be in the same gallery at this time. And you're used to your landscape changing and that kind of thing. So it's not a major crazy thing when it happens. Museums with guards, the interesting thing about that is that guards don't really see the paintings because they're used to it. They're used to them being there. So it is a rare occasion when they're going to sit there in the middle of the night and actually look at the painting for something. I mean, it happens, but it's not something that you're generally going to have to worry about. And typically in times when it has happened, by the next morning you're back again and they're like, what happened to you in the middle of the night? Are you okay? So nothing to really be too concerned about, and we're also not going to worry about such pesky things as video cameras. That's the third dimension to worry about. We're worried about the second dimension. People in the third dimension, by the way, are very weird. You can kind of see into the gallery if you need to, but it's not really that important typically. If you're in your painting, you can kind of look out. People in the third dimension are really strange. Their borders are moving around all the time. You can kind of tell it's the same person, but it's really strange. It's sort of like they've got many planes. For most of you, actually, for Dora Maar, it's probably less strange. Just because, that's cubism for you. So before we launch into this, are there any questions? All right. We shall dive in here and see how things go. Basically, the guards are all on autopilot. That's probably what's happening right now. So that's just the fundamentals. Those are just the fundamentals fundamental laws under which these things operate. Okay, so let me go ahead and shift us over to our to where we in fact are now, and get this thing started. Let me start by now bringing in the frame, and so that we can actually have stuff in there, and then I will shift us over. So we are at on the Grand Jetty. If everyone can see that. It is always Sunday afternoon at the Grand Jetty, and it is a lovely day. There is as usual sort of a picnic type affair going on. A lot of folks typically hang out here. It's very centrally located in the museum. It's on the middle floor. Generally, in the museum you're in right now, what you've determined is that you have three floors. On the bottom floor, you have 17th century and earlier. In the middle floor, where the Sunday on the Grand Jetty is, then you have that. Let me just make a quick transition here, just to make sure everyone can see this. There we go. So in the middle floor, you've got 18th and 19th centuries. And then on the top floor, you've got 20th century and later. Is typically where they do things in this museum. That's typically how they do things in this museum. And let me see if I want to make a quick adjustment here, just so that you can see more of it. And we'll see how that looks. Okay. And so you folks are arrayed around here. It's having a nice little been having a nice little picnic. There are some other folks here just sort of hanging out and dining, or having lunch, what have you. And I will now show them to you, just so that you can see who else is hanging out here right now. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to automatically just display the thing, but I'm going to start making some things visible to you, and you can go down into handouts in Roll20 and take a look at them. So first off, something that you will notice is that Henry VIII is here. Basically sort of holding court. He seems to, a lot of folks are sort of gathered around him right now. He has a massive sort of carpet picnic blanket out right now, and folks are hanging out and sort of hanging out with him and just sort of listening to him tell stories endlessly. He usually tells the same sort of hunting stories over and over again, hunting, jousting, all manner of things like that, because he's very much into that. Also, the Blue Dancers are here, and so they are visible here as well. They're hanging out. They're actually they were giving a performance earlier, and they're probably in a little bit they're going to get back up and do a bit more of that. Again, they're sort of near the sort of that main big sort of carpet that he dragged down. A sort of picnic blanket carpet thing. It looks incredibly ridiculous and expensive, but there it is. Let's see, who else is here? The fiddler is here. I believe that's Vermeer, if I'm remembering correctly. Is that showing up? Yeah, basically, if you go into under handouts in Roll20, you should be able to start seeing them now. I'm not like just doing the show to you, but I could do that. Let me go ahead and just start doing that just to make it easier, because I don't think we're gonna have to worry too much. People don't get the idea. So they're here. Let's see. Norman Rockwell is here. Also his self-portrait. Just kind of also hanging out. He's actually sketching a couple of things. He's got a sketchbook and is sort of drawing in it right now. Whilst that's going on. So that's they're one of the folks. What's hanging out. Let's see. Do I have anyone else here that I wanted to throw in desperately? One more. Lady with a parasol is also here, and so that is someone else who's shown up. And she's just sort of standing off by herself, as she is wont to do from time to time. And so that's how you're starting out. Where roughly are you folks arrayed right now, if I may ask?
I'm probably approaching the lady with the parasol. Go talk to her.
I am
I'm going up to Henry VIII because I absolutely love his clothes. Oh my God.
You're delightful.
I will be standing in front of the nearest low wall next to the water, just kind of wistfully looking out across the sea.
I am going to go over with my camera and take a picture of the monkey with the lady in the foreground.
Okay. Very good, very good.
I disapprove of all of this.
Excellent.
Far too much jollity and music and that vulgar Henry VIII. Ugh. I sit on a bench and think about how people used to have respect. They used to have manners.
They did. What happened? What happened to them?
Ugh, I don't know.
Most of the people who are hanging out are kind of in this area where I'm throwing out that pulse.
Cavorting in mixed company.
Yeah.
Their arms aren't even covered.
I know. What's the deal with that, man?
The parasol woman just beguiling as ever.
It's basically making small talk with the parasol. The parasol lady. She basically is. Heard there were a lot of there were some new things. There were some things shifting around up on the top floor.
So what's the news?
Over the last couple of weeks. So it's the new bulletin probably came out not too long ago about for the layout up there.
Okay.
So she's a little concerned, but she can't quite put her finger on it. There's something that's perhaps not quite right.
So what did you see up there that's concerning? I asked the parasol.
I'm not certain. Well, they were bringing in a lot of. It seemed as though there was a large stone structure was starting to get erected up there. That is very disturbing.
Is it like statues, like little?
I did not see enough of it
Michelangelo?
because I did not see enough of it because then they moved Escher and it got in the way.
So maybe you talk to him.
Well, I wish I could. It's just his drawings up there, and it's you've tried navigating through that place, eh? It's crazy.
Maybe we should check it out sometime.
So, just as the dancers are getting up to do another set, essentially. Sort of on the. Let's see where. Yeah. Gonna move the mouse here. Yeah. So the Son of Man is probably closest to hear this when this happens, and this is happening sort of from over yonder. You hear a scream, and the people just sort of are taken aback, and just sort of they're looking around, sort of mumbling very low, and Henry VIII is like, "No, I say, what's going on over there? There's all that hooting and hollering." He slowly gets to his feet.
My unique perspective and ability to look around corners and whatnot, I'm going to try and scope out exactly what the scream is all about.
Okay. So you kind of I'm not even necessarily gonna make you roll for that because it's not too far away. You can see that there are folks just sort of lying around, or not lying around. Yeah, folks are standing around someone who's lying on the ground. It's like there's some, it's like there's a commotion over just someone who's not standing up right now.
I will lean forward a couple angles and just kind of zip over there without ever actually like moving my feet or arms. Just kind of a weird, just like almost like invisible segue look as I slide over there.
Yeah.
Apple spinning in concern.
Yeah. There's a lot of low muttering, and what a bunch of you are able to kind of is the Son of Man probably gets there soonest, but the rest of you sort of pick this up as Perlas, you're sort of standing there with the lady in the parasol's on a fairly good vantage, and she's just sort of looking. She raises these little sort of opera glasses, and she says, "Oh dear, it seems that something has burst out of the favorite priest's chest."
Yeah, that's awful. What is it?
It's not ideal.
What has come out?
As you see, they're gathered around the favorite priest, as he is called, is sort of the one in the middle there. You can see. He's not looking good. From your perspective, there seems to be red oil dripping away from his chest.
Oh, and that's so difficult to get out, you know?
Yes, it's not good.
Dripping time.
I turn to Norman Rockwell, who I imagine is one of the few people I'm willing to talk to in this situation, and say, "Good heavens, help me get over there and see what foolishness they've gotten into. I'll have somebody's hide for this." And I force him to help me. Go
he gladly he'll put down a sketchbook and he'll help you. Well, of course, ma'am. And actually, this is not how Norman Rockwell sounds in real life, or sounded in real life. But I think everybody thinks he talks like Bing Crosby, so that's kind of where I'm going with him. So, because you change as well as impressions come to you. They take you over. He takes you over, and you can see that, as you all sort of see this, that the favorite priest is lying there with this big hole in his chest, there's red oil leaking out of it, going everywhere, out of him, and there's sort of all looking around. There's this terrible commotion. It's like, what happened? What happened?
Is he dead or the closest equivalent?
He's not doing too well. He's gasping, trying to breathe, and is not succeeding. He
was one of the few decent people around here.
Yep, no, that's definitely a chest burster.
Yeah, while everyone's
say that as though that's a thing.
Him, I'd like to look around to see if I see where the origin of the strike came from. Like, do I see anything out of the ordinary, like in the trees or?
Now, I shall ask you to roll things
Okay.
as this is going on. Let's see. I'm just going to use this character sheet to look at so that I can remember what things are. Yeah. So so Pearl, as you're looking around, what I presume you're sort of doing this carefully.
Yeah,
So
I'm
go ahead and
kinda
roll with
paying
careful.
attention to
for me.
detail.
And I shall also then roll a thing in opposition. Okay, so you got 2. Let me look at my NPC. Okay, yeah, I've got a +2. That goes. Tie. Okay. So as you've been sort of doing this and sort of trying to get this going. So you have a tie. So you can. On something like this, I would say that you could succeed sort of at a minor cost. For something like this. So you see something, but it's not immediately. You don't know exactly where it is. You see something darting in between these two folks, and somewhere in this area.
Okay, and is anyone at the table close to me at all?
Well, yeah, a lot of folks have started walking up. Henry and the dancers have walked up.
Oh, anyone in the game right now?
Anyone in the-
like,
I'm
Yeah.
right there over the
Okay.
body.
So
Yeah,
I
at some point I'll probably
I
go
nudged
for-
Joshua and I'm like, did you see that? I saw something strange over there between those two people. Did you see that?
I have a remarkably high tolerance for descriptions of strange, I say, pointing at the apple and disjointed arm I have. You may have to be more specific.
Maybe like a shadow or something. The guy with the umbrella
Chiaroscuro!
darted over there. Maybe it's what caused that guy to get hurt.
It's possible. I will see if I can see it.
All right.
I have a +2 to carefully affect something that's not directly in my line of sight. Does that include like seeing around corners and
Absolutely.
behind things, Mothman type?
Indeed.
Then I will carefully, just like my hands, just kind of grab the apple and just so many millimeters, a little down, just to get a slightly better view. Lean forward and try and carefully scope out just what's what.
Okay.
I would also like to try and maybe render mother's medical aid to this guy.
Okay.
Point.
Let's see. That's gonna be kind of tough. I'm just going to do a set difficulty for that one.
What's the entry for rolling Fate on this? I've never actually played Fate on R20.
So you can do either. You can you can roll the you can either roll the aspect and then do math, or you can do its /r space D or sorry /r space 4DF
Plus
whatever. Yeah.
everything else. Gotcha.
Yeah. And you're
All
going. I'm going off my same roll, so you're rolling against 2, basically, to see this thing. And-
Slowly rolling the dice. There it is.
Oh yeah. So you succeeded with style
With
there.
style. Yeah.
So you're going to pinpoint it exactly. I'll come back to that in just a second. First,
Very good.
Ms. Whistler, if you would, you're going to need 3. I think you're going to need a 3 or better on this.
Okay. And this would probably be careful, you think?
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, all right. Let's see what happens here. I have a +2.
Oh, you got it.
Okay. Oof.
Okay. So you're able to. So actually, tell me how do you heal this
Well,
oil painting?
I mean, I'm from 1871, so I don't know how effective my medical knowledge really is. But I probably know how to staunch bleeding, though. I mean, that's a thing.
Just a tourniquet around the neck.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll work really well.
That fixes everything.
And, while I'm doing this, I'm probably clucking disapprovingly, and if anybody tries to correct me, I will give them a dressing down for getting in my way.
Nice.
But yeah, I think I'm just trying to... the cloth to staunch some bleeding. I will demand that somebody else provide me with some cloth to do so.
So Dora will approach and provide you with a cloth that she just sort of pulls out of a piece of her clothing that you can't see because it's in a totally different part of the dimension. And she hands it to you, and then I'll begin to take sort of folding and unfolding in profile. She moves around this figure, and I'm going to take a series of photographs trying to record any information that I might need for later.
Okay. All right. You are doing that. Blue, what are you doing right now?
Oh, this is disgusting. Don't touch my handkerchief. It's brand new. It just came from Paris.
Oh.
Henry, do let me examine your coat some more. It's so elegant.
Well, of course, but poor priest needs help, apparently. Not... Oh, and he looks at it, stares at it for a second, nods his head, but not from me. And he turns back around.
Exactly. I couldn't said it better myself.
Okay.
Wrong church.
Mrs. Whistler hears this, turns to King Henry and says, You had better provide some assistance to this man. He is dying on your watch, and I don't care what church you are from.
Well, I don't want him to... Well, I clearly don't want him to pass away, and it seems, my dear lady, that you have this well under control.
You have a perfectly good palanquin. Get somebody over here to take him so that he can have some rest. What is wrong with you?
The more she berates me, the more I love it. And he summons his palanquin. In the meantime, now back to Sunny, back to the Son of Man. You have, so there's a thing that you have spotted up in this tree. Now, I am going to show it to you, but before I show it to you, I actually have to specify here. Before I show this to anybody, I need to specify here very carefully. I have two different pictures of this. One is by the original artist, and I do have to give a content warning about it. It is kind of rough. It is there is a certain degree of sort of visceral, violent content about it. The second one is from a thing based on the original artist's work and is less so. Which one do you want to see?
First one.
I'm sorry?
You can give me the first one, the original.
Okay,
2. I don't like gory stuff.
Okay. I'm going to show Josh the original.
Okay.
Assuming
I'm
that
fine with either one.
Okay.
You can show different pictures to different people. That's cool.
I should be able to, and let's find out how this works. I'm not going to
real
show
quick.
the audience the original. I found it, but I'm not going to show it. Let me go ahead and
Set the permissions on the handout.
Yeah, I set the permissions on the handout here. So Josh gets to see it. Who else wants to see the original?
Original,
I'll look at
please.
the original.
Okay. All right.
That's
So yeah, basically everyone would release. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Gosh, I'm just double checking to make sure I've got this right. Okay. Okay, you should now all be able to see that.
Did you share it? I'm not seeing it.
Under
That is-
handouts.
Oh, it's in handouts. Oh,
Yeah,
chest
it's under
burster.
handouts. Yep. I'm now going to show everyone the other one because it's and you do not have to look at it if you do not wish. I'm just going to make it visible to everyone. And I'm going to make the slightly better one. The slightly less, not better, the extrapolated one visible. And I'm also going to make the extrapolated one now visible to those who are watching if I have it. Do I have it? Yes, I do. There it is. And so yeah. So that's what you see up in the tree there.
Those things from that Swiss maniac.
Like,
Well, that's not
Anyone here
something
have a gun?
that's appropriate to this genre and motif.
Does anyone have a gun in this area? Because that'd make a nice
I don't have a
target before anyone else gets attacked.
Yeah, as you're sort of standing there, lady with the parasol is also sort of nearby. She says, I think Henry has one. He was going to do some. He said he was going to do some shooting later.
Let's go talk to him. So I approach King Henry, and I know my character is capable of charm. Just a second.
I'm keeping an eye on this thing.
I guess flashy is what they do. I don't know if flashy is a good word for it, but I might go for like, in a very charming way, like, good afternoon, King. That thing that just hurt that guy is in that tree. Could you shoot it before the rest of us get hurt?
Yeah,
I've heard you're a top marksman.
Flattery.
He could hit the broadside of a barn.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and you will roll. You will roll flashy for this, but you'll also get a +1 to your total because Miss Whistler is berating him. So that was a 1 total.
Where did that go?
Which
I thought I clicked it. Hold on. Sorry.
yeah, it went through. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Let's see. Okay.
Yeah, take the first one. My bad. So it's like add a 1 to that. So 1
Let me
type.
go ahead and do a general roll here real quick because let's see. Okay, that's not it.
Oh dang.
Yeah, it's like, aha!
9.
No, I got a -1. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Henry's like, ha! Broadside of a barn, eh? We'll see about that. He opens up a case, and this old sort of 1500s musket that he pulls out, and so he's pouring the powder in. He's getting ready to do the shot, and he's actually, as he's looking around, he's like, and they're coming by with a palanquin.
Anytime, Hank.
And says, I would recommend. I'd recommend that we move away. Where is it?
Over there.
Right. Oh.
I step back and cover my ears.
So he's getting ready. He's getting ready. It takes a minute to load a gun like this. So what is everyone else doing during this time?
I'm keeping eyes on the target to make sure it doesn't scamper off nowhere.
I'm shaking my head and clucking disapprovingly and occasionally calling Henry a vulgar man.
I would like to look around and where the creature is and make sure that there's not an easy exit for the creature to get out from where it is.
Okay, good. So yeah, you're kind of trying to make sure anything, any way it could run is kind of cut off.
Yeah, like without aggravating it in any way. So
Yeah.
I'm sort of sneakily examining the area around it.
That's good. Okay, so go ahead and roll with sneaky.
Roll 20 only lags on me if I have to roll a thing. There we go.
And I shall roll opposite. You're probably going to do quite well because it's not really good at seeing things. Does not have very good vision. So, which of those rolls would you
I'm
like me to
sorry.
do?
The first one, it wasn't showing. The first one.
Okay, no worries.
We're all the
Same
same thing. I was like, damn it, go.
Yeah, the
all the way
feed
across
doesn't
the
go
park.
with you.
Yes, I have snuck out of the museum.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So
Right.
you've succeeded with style. This means that, among other things, you've actually have the ability to create an aspect that folks can use for free a couple times on this thing. What sort of aspect would you like? Do you want something like boxed in, or what do you want?
Yeah, I would say exits blocked.
Okay. All right. So that's now an available tag for folks. And I'm going to have Henry VIII fire a musket now, and we'll see what happens. And again, I roll the wrong thing because I am not used to using Roll20 in this way.
Hell of a result.
I know, 11 successes. That's amazing. Okay, no, that's not good at all because he's rolling against something with a +2 in this kind of thing. Yep. No, it succeeds with style on him, but these are NPCs, so I'm not worried. He fires this thing, and it's this loud blam up into the trees, misses it completely, but it shakes the tree, and the thing is starting to scamper down it. But you've taken enough precautions that you folks are kind of ready. What are we doing?
I nudge King Henry. I'm like, can I give it a try? And I like ask if I can hold the gun.
Yeah, he shrugs and hands it to you.
Thank you.
What is Dora doing?
It's gonna take her a while to reload the gun, right?
Yeah, it's gonna take a minute.
I'm sitting here like doot 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 doot.
Is there something I can use to pin it down? I mean, it's not very big at this point, right? So I could, is there a stick in this park?
Sure, absolutely.
How far am I with that guy with a cane? Can I just grab his cane?
Yeah, not too far. You can run down and grab that guy's cane. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna grab his cane and I'm gonna take a swing for the thing, and my hope would be to pin it to the ground with the bottom of the cane, but if I had to just sort of like smack it, that would be my alternate hope.
All right, let's see.
Let's see. What would that
All right,
be?
this would be, if you're trying to do it, you're probably trying to, I'm guessing this would probably be more either quickly or forcefully. I'll let you choose.
I think quickly.
All right. Okay, I have no special bonuses on this, or negatives. Yep, you don't quite manage to get it. It's it is. However, now that that's done, it's going to sort of leap up and try to bite at you. So you may wish to do something to get out of the way. It's going to, yes. Let's see. So you're now going to be you're going to be trying to get out of the way, presumably quickly, because if you want to do something else.
Quickly or carefully, because I'm trying to.
If you're just trying to like hold it off like that, then yeah, you could go with that. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you have some space away from this thing yet? Or are you guys still pretty?
I would imagine, and carefully trying to avoid it, I have moved fairly far from it.
So as the gun loads, I'm gonna quickly aim at this thing. So you see this like very prettily dressed 1600s lady with pearl earrings, like aiming this gun at something like Alien versus Predator, and I'm gonna shoot it.
All right, so this once again, I don't think there's any way to fire this gun other than forcefully, because it's just the kind of thing it is, really. Let me actually look at the attributes again real quick. Yeah. I mean, you're taking care. Well, you said you're taking careful aim, yes?
Sure.
So
yeah.
You could do it carefully. I'll let you choose either carefully or forceful.
Yeah, I'll carefully make sure my friend gets out of the way and try to shoot it in the forehead.
All right.
If it has one. Oh, whoops.
Okay.
Choose the first one I made.
Okay, you got a 3.
Yes.
And let me see what it's getting as it tries to dodge you, which actually it does not have anything special here now that it's been seen. -1. Okay. So you succeed with style on this thing. So you were able to take it out as it's scampering away. Like just again, the gun got a hell of a recoil on that thing. Takes it out. It's like, and it falls down at the edge of the water there.
Yeah, I blow the smoke off the gun, and I'm like, "What are you thinking, Henry?"
He's like, I can get you one of your own of those if you like.
Oh, I love that. This was fun. Yeah.
We must go hunting sometime.
Absolutely.
Watch out, he's going to try and marry you and cut off your head.
Oh, it doesn't turn out well.
Oh, yeah. I'm an independent woman.
Someone said when this happened over by the dead priest that it was definitely a chest burster. That's not the kind of thing most people would immediately stumble onto.
Yeah,
I know nothing about chest bursters, but someone knows something about chest bursters. I'd like to know who that person was.
Yeah. Rockwell at this point just sort of raises his hand. He's like, "Oh, they got him up. Up on the 3rd floor. They just moved. They just moved into the Geiger exhibit."
They have an whole exhibit of Geiger?
Yeah, apparently.
Ever invited those vile creatures?
He shrugs. Not sure. And at this point, Henry's saying, "Yeah, let's. As this is all rather difficult, I think I'm going to retreat up to the cafe if anyone cares to join me. But first of all, could you help corral these folks?" He sort of says over to Rockwell. Rockwell's like, "Sure, absolutely. I'll make sure this fella gets back and is taken care of. And let me know what you folks find. Sounds really interesting."
And I asked the king, I'm like, "Hey, is it okay if I borrow this? I want to target practice before our next shooting thing."
Yes, in fact,
I've out for the ammo.
in fact, I have a proposition for you, for some of you, if you'd care to speak on it.
Oh, proposition from Henry VIII. Those always turn out well.
Does not turn out good.
Well, poor choice of words there. Proposition, my dear, not a proposal. Not yet, anyway. Now, he says, and these are a lot of folks are clearing out, and they're starting to head toward an area sort of in the middle where there's this across a bridge where there's a staircase that ascends up to the next floor. As they're heading for a cafe that's up there. He says, "Now, I think it would behoove us to find out what this is all about and why this is here and how it came to be among us. If indeed, as our friend says, this is from the Geiger exhibit, then I would propose that some folk who might be stalwart of purpose could head in that direction and determine these answers for us. Find out what its purpose is, why it is here, and what is what it means. Should that be the case, and we are able to alleviate any difficulties arising from that, I should be very grateful and honor any who would care to do so with a banquet at none such castle on the morrow.
Blue
let's
immediately volunteers and says, "Yes, Your Highness, I would be delighted to go over to the exhibit, and I have my own diary with my own feather quill pen to take notes, and I shall make a report straight away."
Excellent.
You know,
Good
you
lad.
might get dirty there, darling.
I just hold the gun. I'm like, we got this, Henry. We got this.
Also, Your Majesty, my father makes excellent hardware, and I do wish that you would patronize him if I come back with a successful report.
But of course, plenty needs doing around the castle.
Thank you, Your Highness.
Seems we can
I
never
sh-
finish building it for some reason.
I shall do this for my own ineffable purposes.
Yeah, Dora rolls her 2.5 eyes and says, "You know, I have no interest in assisting the bourgeoisie. However, I do have an interest in being in the place where things most happen. So I will go along with everybody and see what's up."
So I'm trying to decide what would be the most effective, weapon for Mrs. Whistler to carry. And I'm debating between something along the lines of, whichever of the, crocheting, knitting, whatever needles are the sharpest, or berating somebody into giving me their parasol or cane that could also be used as, I kind of like the idea of berating some gentleman into giving me his cane.
I like that idea as well.
Okay.
I also like the idea of you dual-wielding knitting needles.
too.
I know. Maybe I have those in somewhere in my dress or something.
If it doesn't
It's
work
fine.
out, I'll walk up next to you, slapping the gun against my hand, yeah, you should listen to that. Yeah.
I should mention that I too am in favor of the knitting needles, as someone who once years ago GM'd a one-shot of Wraith the Oblivion, in which Whistler's mother came out of the painting and attacked them with a pair of knitting needles. So
My God.
Great minds.
Combo attack.
I'm in favor of that, but also the berating someone with a cane thing sounds too awesome to pass up as well.
I can have multiple weapons, so I will berate somebody for their cane as a blunt weapon, and then I will keep my knitting needles close.
The gentleman with the cane who just got it back that Pearl was using to try to or that Dora had been using. I think it was Dora that was using it to fend off the
Yes.
the creature. Just got it back. He's like, here, have the thing, and he just tosses it to you.
Please let me roll for this. I have a +5 if I forcefully dress someone down, show them up, or otherwise embarrass them.
Oh yeah, sure. Roll to berate.
Who's a shaman?
Yeah, so that's a 5.
Yeah, no, you got him. Yep, he's like,
He's very cowed. I probably throw in a few insults about improper behavior as well.
apologies, ma'am. Yeah, you may have it. And just sort of sheepishly wanders off to the cafe with everyone else. All right. So you have your information about it. You know that there should be whenever they change the layout of each floor, there's usually a central area where they post bulletins about it. Here, based off because some folks have access to the museum layouts, because those are also drawn images, and so they sort of make them up. And here they also are available in the cafe, the Nighthawks Cafe up on the next floor. So, are you heading that way?
Sure.
All right.
So,
Time for adventure, and I
Alrighty.
go look for one of those layout things that I know about, I guess.
I like the Nighthawks. They serve a great cup of coffee.
And I grab it. I'm like, who's good with maps? We got a good navigator here. And I hand it to the
So,
navigator.
yeah, so you get up to the, let me go ahead and go to this part real quick, just so that, because just simply because I have the image, I'll go ahead and show it. We won't need to do a lot whilst we are here. But just so folks can see sort of where they are. The Nighthawks Cafe has a lot of people in it right now, which it kind of makes sense because a lot of the second level decided to show up, so that's where you are at the moment as you've gone up. Essentially, you go up this big set of stairs, and it leads you up there, and so you've got that going on. Let me take that alien off of the overlay there. There we go. Okay. And
it's like a mascot.
It is. He is like a mascot. What did you do with the body, by the way?
Let's see.
It left it to more qualified people.
Fair enough. Yeah, there are a few folks sort of gathered up there, and you're able to get pretty quickly to where they have the map. And these sort of bulletins that are up there, and I'm going to go ahead and show everyone the map at first, and then I'm going to. I also have this on a handout that I will show you, so that you can have that no matter what screen we're on. Third format. Here we go. So that's now available, so you should be able to see that.
Well, I'm really glad that Escher doesn't have the stairs down. Let me just say that.
Yeah, that would take rather a while to get there.
We were heading
Got
upstairs
stairs everywhere.
Is this sort of thing something that's happened before? Like, have we had issues with violent monsters kind of coming from one painting into another, or sort of forces?
Kind of rare. It's not something that happens a lot. It is kind of tricky, but it has happened before. It's weird. A lot of I wouldn't say it's completely unknown. If you draw a picture of something and you put it in a gallery, this is liable to happen depending on where you put it. I'm imagining there was a point where, trying to think of a good of a good example here of some sort. Yeah, sometimes you'll get some artists who come up with these sort of abstract drawings, or not even abstract, but sort of drawings of monsters, conceptual things. Yeah, like at one point, for example, Kronos eating his children showed up in a gallery, sort of next to a field of flowers, and started just sort of romping through them, and it was not very pretty.
That's actually the painting I wanted to play if I had my choice.
Well, that's here from Uncle Kronos. No, but yeah, so I mean, it does occasionally, very occasionally happen, but usually it's not. Usually they can be reasoned with in some fashion. It's rare that it's anything like this, and that might actually be one of the reasons why there are not that many Geiger exhibits to go see. They happen, but you gotta be careful.
We've got ourselves a trans motif incursion.
Yes. A lot of times when it's a painting of something that's not not hugely intelligent, it doesn't usually leave its area, because it starts getting into unfamiliar territory and it gets really weirded out. I mean, something like that.
Gets confused.
But you pick up the bulletin, and you see that in order to get there, you have to go through Escher. So I presume we're going to do that.
It's going to take some time.
I better put my running shoes on. Stereomatic.
So So you go along this city street that eventually starts, everything turns black and white, and then you start to see things that are just sort of lines, and then you see lines and perspectives that don't really seem to belong with each other.
Should feel right at home, Mara.
It's it's not a thing one typically sees a lot of. And you pass by this sort of set of waterfalls where the water actually is diverted. It moves around and back up into itself. You go past, again, a flock of birds that are also triangles that are also birds. Then eventually, you realize that as you come around the corner and you're heading down toward Geiger, the Geiger exhibit, that you're going to have to go through relativity in order to get there. So it's one of those things where you're never quite sure exactly where you're going to end up. Do you go in?
Well, I have no concerns about going in. Is there any way that I can chart a path for people to go through?
It is entirely possible. First, you have to see where you emerge, though, and then sort of compute it from there.
Is this the only path forward, or are there other options?
It seems fairly well bottlenecked. If you had to guess, you'd say that they must have put relativity in a hallway, in sort of a...
So we can't go to, like, Chagall or Hopper or anything?
No, but the way this museum is laid out, it's basically you have a wing, and then you can go one direction for one artist or the other direction for the other.
Okay.
Perhaps one of these helpful mummy people will know the way through.
Mummy people are always so helpful.
They are, aren't they? We enjoy mummy people.
That'll go ask one.
Okay, so as you come in, you see. Let me just orient myself here. So you come in and you are. The place where you enter is going to be right about here, sort of in this sort of zone. If you can see that, sort of behind one of these sort of wrapped mannequin-like things, looking over a ledge. And so I think so. As I recall, thus far, Dora wanted to start plotting a course. And Sunny is going to go and talk to one of these people. What's everyone else doing?
I will go with Sunny, as distasteful as he may be.
I'm kind of watching.
Do not approve of being called Sunny.
There's a lot of stairs and everything around, so I'm kind of like being a little stealthy and kind of watching my surroundings really well. There's like a doorway or something I can kind of hide behind and have my gun ready in case something weird jumps out.
All right.
Watching the back, I guess.
You are prepping that. I'm not going to have you roll yet. I just want to sort of see what we're doing here. And Blue.
Blue is takes one look at the Escher confusion and starts to feel absolutely sick to his stomach, and he grabs onto Dora Mar's sleeve and will not let go. He's like, save me, I feel awful.
You're going to be okay. Just think of it as a complex brocade.
He shuts his eyes.
Imagine brocade. Imagine brocade. All right, Dora. As you're sort of figuring this out, I'd like you to be rolling with clever. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the thing. Yes, that's the name of the thing.
And then
this will be again. This is a sort of a general obstacle. I'm gonna probably need 3 successes, I think, or 3 success. You're gonna need a 3 or better. Sorry.
Okay. Can I get a bonus for flat cubism?
Yes.
As one of my aspects?
Yes. In this case, definitely.
Okay, so how many more dice does that give me?
That does not give you any more dice. It just gives you a +2 to
just-
your roll.
A +2 to my roll.
Yeah.
A +2 to the result?
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
If you want, you can like add. Yeah.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Well, that looks like you only rolled 2 dice there.
Oh, is that... Come on.
So you can roll 2 more, and that'll tell us.
Let me just...
You just do
Which
that
one am
again.
I rolling? Am I clever?
Yeah, it's basically if you want to do it on your sheet, you would just hit clever, and then either you can add 2 to it before you roll, or you can just roll it and then add 2 in your head. Okay, and you've got the we got the +2 in there. That's good. All right. Okay, we got a 4. Excellent. All right. You are in the process of finding out, of course, and I'll tell you what happens in a moment. But first, Son of Man was going and questioning one of these beings,
Bonjour, mon ami.
and it just sort of looks up, sort of comes up kind of mechanically, turns to you.
I was wondering if you perhaps knew a way through these mazes of stairs and hallways. It is vitally important that we get through to the next section of the museum.
It
Hello?
seems to be reaching for you.
Yes, hello. Good to meet you.
I whack him on the head.
Take its hand in both my hands, put in the backwards elbow, and just like, yes, hello, good to meet you.
Oh, so
And in fact, very famous, yes.
well, first of all,
Not as famous as you. You're on every art student's dorm room wall. I understand.
does Mrs. Well, first of all, does Miss Whistler whack them away, or do
I-
you just?
Whack him on the head. The mummy dude.
Okay, so it just sort of is taken aback by that for a moment.
Oh gosh.
But are you going to? You're still
Wash, I
gonna,
suppose.
are you still going to? Son of Man, are you still going to try to grab its hands?
I'm gonna step back a bit if there seems to be old lady whacking going
Yeah, there's
about.
some old lady. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, there's some elderly violence happening.
That's not how elder abuse works.
Oh, this is the other way around.
Boy.
The being just sort of when you hit it with the cane, it stops reaching forward, and it just now is trying. It's not trying to fight you exactly, but it's now just sort of lurches around and starts walking down the stairs.
I look.
If you want to
I
talk
look
to
to
it
Whistler's
more,
mother.
if you want to talk to it more, fine. Fine. It's your funeral. It's fine.
There's another one coming on another plane if you want to try to get at it, but that'll take a moment.
Perhaps he's friendlier.
Perhaps we don't know. We will find out in a moment. So one thing I will mention. So Dora, you had started. You plotted a course, and you're pretty sure that your objective is going to end up. You can either leave through here or through here, this area. If you could see both of those that I've sort of been pointing at there.
Right. I can.
So those you think will get you. One of those will get you to the basically to the exit to the next exhibit. And let's see, what is everyone else doing here briefly? We've gotten through there. What's Pearl? Pearl has been sort of sneaking around a little bit. Anything else, or just still hiding in stairways? Maybe?
Just seeing if I see any interesting clues or anything out of the ordinary as I kind of like lurk in the shadows with my gun.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and make a sneaky roll here for me, and let's see what you got. Okay. This place is terribly confusing. You are not. You find you are not in danger, but as you are, you find an alcove to hide in, and you then realize that the other side of the alcove leads you out here.
And where's everyone else at? Are they still up at that top?
Most folks are in this area right now.
I probably don't want to get separated from the group, but I might nudge whoever's closest to me and be like, look, this leads down there. Check this out. And who's paying attention, I guess. I whisper too.
What's Blue doing?
Blue still got his eyes tightly closed, hanging onto Dora Mar's sleeve.
Okay. Dora, is your sleeve pointy?
Ow!
I don't think it would be pointy, but it would be flexible in reality. So I think that it would be something where it's like he's trying to get a certain sense of stability, but like holding on to a cubist picture, which is endlessly shifting perspectives, is hard to hold on to. But probably with his eyes closed, he's probably fine.
So it's Pearl. It's probably the two of them that are closest to you right now.
Then that's who I tell, and I show them how where we're at leads to that downstairs area.
Is it going through here, basically? Through...
I don't know how it works. It just takes us down there. I'm ready to get out of here, though. These guys creep me out. Don't get hugged by the mannequins.
So...
They hug, they may not let go.
The Son of Man is getting ready to talk to this one that's approaching you on a different plane.
Right.
And so I just wanted to know, so as you're approaching this thing, is there a particular way you're trying to get its attention?
Me?
Yeah, Son of Man, sorry.
Yeah, it's I'm shouting at it.
Okay.
Hello, you there. Perhaps you are more useful, more friendly. We're willing to help.
Okay. Shouting at it, that sounds kind of forceful to me.
It does.
So let's go ahead and do that.
I'm terrible at forceful, but
you can use your aspect here if you wish, but well, let's see what you get first.
Brandishing a cane behind him.
Just trying to get its attention is all here.
Yeah.
That's a 0. I will spend a fate point and tag my anything aspect because I'm all dressed up in like a nice business suit and all that. I can stand out and look like a respectable gentleman despite my fruit based facial features.
Excellent.
So that brings it to a 2.
All right, let me see what I have here. 1. Okay.
Well spent.
So it stops, and it's sideways to you, right? Yeah, you can. It's starting to reach out toward you. Again, like the other one was.
Now that I've, with the benefit of experience and hindsight, does it look like it's an aggressive reach out, or just like a blind groping, or just?
It's somewhere between a blind groping and it's trying to do something.
Do you think it wishes to eat your apple?
It has no mouth, and yet it must scream.
Yes.
I have many apples if it desires to eat this. We will find out. Only one way to find out.
I will say, between Pearl and Dora, you've kind of worked out that there's a sort of a back way through here, but you're not sure exactly which way to turn yet. That might get you closer to one of the exit areas.
I just motioned for the group, like, hey guys, let's just get. Oh, there's something down here. Let's see if we can get out of here. So I don't think these mannequin things have much to say. Do they even have faces? They can't talk.
No, but
Faces are overrated.
So
if we're standing here, we can only go down this stair.
yeah, or you can retreat back into the alcove, turn left, and come out here.
Through that door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just start wandering down there. I'm like, see you guys.
Either way.
Looks like my friends have already found a way down there. All right, well, that's a mummy person.
My question was, do you make contact with it?
I was going to until people started, yes, I have. And hand in hand, when I hear people start
All right.
shouting, we found a way down.
Don't touch it. Okay, so it's speaking in your mind.
Oh my.
In a way, well, it's more pictures than words. The pictures are kind of jumbled looking. They don't make a lot of sense.
I'm a surrealist. I'm used to that.
But yes, as it's sort of flooding through, you're sort of looking down, and it's like just get into the open and turn right.
Oh.
That's what you're getting.
Oh, merci. More useful than I thought it would be. All right, thank you very much. I will follow their directions.
All right. So, are you following the rest of the party, or are you going elsewhere, or what you doing?
Does his directions kind of lead me to where the party is also going, or?
It could. There are several ways into the open. So, if you folks, I don't know, when you get down here, are you folks heading up to up through this outer area to try to get through? Like I said, there.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where I'm headed.
Yeah, you think it'll work from there?
I will follow his directions.
Okay. So.
I will follow Sunny.
Yeah, as you lot get into this, so as Pearl and Dora and Blue, they kind of, Blue being led, kind of get into a sort of a more open area with trees. It's sort of a little walled garden-like area with where the ceiling is also a walled garden area, strangely, but there's also a sun. You see the Son of Man comes out and just hangs a right.
This way.
And,
I follow him. I'm like, all right.
comes down a path, and it turns out it's this path. And you can see beyond you, just up this way, there's that color starts coming back into the world. Which means you must be heading toward the next exhibit.
Awesome.
So what do we see in the next exhibit? Because I'm headed in.
You are
stealthily.
You are headed there stealthily.
Yeah.
As you do so, it is. Set this real quick. So the walls are sort of slightly dim gray, but it's gray sort of tinged with blue a bit. I am hearing a lot of air conditioning right now, just so you know. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Is everyone else hearing that, or am I just going crazy?
I'm hearing it as well.
All right.
I am hearing it.
There, it's gone. Okay. So before you lies this strange sort of citadel, which looks like it's out on the middle of the water, but as you look down, you realize you're walking on the surface of this. It's like glass you're walking on. Perhaps it hasn't identified as water as of yet because it's a new exhibit. But it's because it's a thing meant as a sort of an homage to an island. But you seem to be walking on the surface of this water toward this thing.
That's not at all ominous.
Not at all.
I stop and look at my reflection in the water and then poke it with my fingers so that I can watch my perspective shift even more into more weirdness.
It ripples. The ground is it's like glass, but if you touch it, and it does give. Let me get something here. I've lost a window. Hang on. There's the window. There we go. So I'm presuming you're going to enter, but let me know if that's not the case.
can we walk on this stuff, or do we end up sinking if we try to step on it?
It looks like it's holding your weight.
I'm fine with heading in if you guys are.
Yeah, I'll take a couple pictures and just sort of like stride brazenly forward.
All right. As you're heading in, you see this. You come in between, and you enter into this big, wide hallway that see it just goes way down to the end, and there are every couple of yards or so there are these big glass panels, sort of tinted glass panels in the walls, set into the walls. And at the very far end, it looks like there's something. It could be a statue of some kind or something else, but it's a fixture of some kind of a person embedded in the far wall at the end of the hallway. There's sort of a T intersection.
I've reached my quota of conversing with hideous semi-humans today, so I will let someone else take to the techno-organic monstrosity.
So you said this thing's encased?
Well, as you presumably move forward past these, it looks like it's weird. It looks like it's part of the wall, yeah. But as you're moving past these sort of glass containers, it looks like, set into the wall, you can see these things inside. That maybe they're sleeping right now. Let me just show you those real quick, because those might look slightly familiar to people.
I whisper to the group, maybe we should just let them sleep and sneak on past.
Oh, I have no
Quietly.
desire to make them up.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that's so yeah. There are a few of those in there. It's kind of there in those glass cases. You make your way to the end of the hallway, and you see before you there is a person who is there and is part of the wall. Apparently, just sort of embedded in there. She's sort of there, and you see things sort of pulsing on either side as she seems to be kind of connected to the center of this whole structure.
Well, at this point, Blue has been sort of sliding across the surface of the water before he entered the building, and he's not that thrilled with it, but it kind of reminds him of ice skating, so he's not that terrified of it either. So he takes a look at this lady, and he decides that if he wants the king to throw him a party, that he's going to have to step up and do something helpful. So he goes up to her and he says, "Madam, I must say, your hairstyle outshines those of even the latest ladies in Paris. I do admire it so."
So
Big derisive snort from the back.
her eyes open, and she looks down at you, and just sort of tilting her head. And I can't do this voice exactly properly because I do not have a modulator of any kind, but it's sort of like this. What use are such things to the land of the dead? She says with thunderous air conditioning.
Yeah, that's some really creepy background noise there.
Where's that coming from?
I don't know. Blue holds her gaze and says, "Madam, at least in death, one never needs to redo one's hair.
All right, I need you to we need to make a roll here. I think you're going to be rolling with Flashy.
Absolutely.
And let me go ahead and use the. And let's see, this is going to be +2 because we are talking about the nature of death, which is something that she's quite skilled in. And I need to make that a fate die, not a 4. There we go. Okay, so you need, so we're looking at 4 to tie, and for full success, 5 or better.
Yep, here we go.
So, okay. So you're tied thus far. Are there any aspects you want to tag?
Yes. One of my aspects is a cold light shines from within. I feel that's more than appropriate to the situation. He's very superficial, a young lad, but he has a keen interest in death and morbidity and things of that nature. He's got a little philosophical bent to him when he's not trying to decide what to wear.
Mm-hmm. All right. So as you're sort of, there's something about you, she just sort of, the hint of her, there's a hint of a smile at the corner of her mouth. And she says, fair enough. At least you are more communicative than the one who was here before. Why do you come here?
We are seeking the source of the creature that jumps from people's chests.
Ah.
He has entered our world and we wish to stop him.
One moment. She closes her eyes and there's pulsing around her. She opens them again. They are all contained. None have escaped.
Are you sure? We just saw one in the park.
Strange. There was one who came before and was observing them in their habitats, but he did not take any.
Is it possible that one escaped while he was looking?
It did not, but... He was sketching it, perhaps. He came with a sketch pad.
Perhaps he created his own.
That is possible. Such things have been known.
Oh boy, ask who it was.
Can you describe this person?
Yes, seemed a simple individual. Those among the living might consider him a polite one. Tall, wearing simple clothing of blue and white. He wore glasses and was smoking a pipe.
Norman.
Yes, that is how he introduced himself.
I turn to Whistler's mother and say, "You sure do choose your friends well."
At least mine are stay in the same visual place. It doesn't matter. I can address this with him.
I would suggest you should. If he is creating his own of the hatchlings and setting them forth, that is not a thing that should be done to maintain the balance.
Just a question. So, your job is to make sure that all of these things stay where they're supposed to?
Indeed. I am their keeper.
Well, good on you. That's a great job. You should keep doing that. I don't want to distract you from that anymore.
Very well. And I think with the revelation that somehow Norman Rockwell is tied up in all this, or his self-portrait is at the very least, I think we are going to go to break, and we will be back in just a few minutes, and going to go refresh my drink and all that manner of things. So take care, folks. We shall return shortly. Greetings, we have returned. And when we left off, our brave adventurers were in a sort of the middle of a painting called Homage à Boclin, which is it's an homage to the Isle of the Dead. That was drawn by Geiger. And they were chatting with Lee, who is the keeper of the xenomorphs there, and they there discovered that apparently, while none of the chestbursters got out, because she's been keeping quite good tabs on it, Lee had noticed that Rockwell was here. Apparently, his self-portrait was here drawing. And might have been drawing one of the chestbursters, and it is possible to, if you are an artist yourself in this land, to make other drawings and possibly have them come to life. It seems that might be what's happening. And so now I must turn to our adventurers and ask, what do we do next?
Suppose you might consider going to the Rockwell part of
You guys paint? Because maybe we need to paint a door with a big latch to keep them all in.
Well, it seems like the dead face lady is going to keep them here.
Do we trust her? Anyone do an insight roll on this lady? Is there an insight roll in Fate? What can I do to see what my gut feeling?
There are. I mean, you could try. You could roll with clever if you want to. You want to sort of suss her out.
Overcome action, yeah.
Okay. Let's see what happens.
She's rather inscrutable, but her motives seem to be fairly clear. So let's see what you get. You get nothing. She is relatively inscrutable. It's hard to tell exactly, but she does not appear to have lied at this point. So
hard to read.
Yeah,
okay.
Very hard to read.
Rockwell's got an exhibit here on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Did we see Rockwell leave the painting?
Originally, yeah, he went to he said he was helping out the priest who had been shot. He was helping them, get the palanquin out of there.
Well, do we think it makes sense to go to
chest
his
opened.
exhibit or to go to find him in the painting where we saw him earlier?
I say let's move ahead to the exhibit.
I agree, although I'll defer to committee.
I think we should move ahead to the exhibit because even if he's not there, it might give us some answers. It seems to me like we don't know if he's just randomly releasing these creatures into our space or if he had a personal problem with the priest.
Good idea.
Whatever the case, I shall give him a dressing down he shall not enjoy.
You go, girl.
My God, did that come with a snap from Blue?
Might have. All right, so you're heading to the Rockwell exhibit, is that right?
Yep.
Consensus.
Okay. Yes. On the way back, because it's right there. I will say you do briefly stop again by the Nighthawks Cafe, and you see it's mostly cleared out. So most of the people are not there. Henry is no longer there, so it's mostly just the folks, the folks there pictured in it. I'll actually come back here real quick. There's still a few folks milling around who were from the garden. So I mean, the lady with the parasol is still there, and some other folks are still there.
I'll turn to the lady with the parasol and say, "Have you seen Norman come through here?"
She looks up. Oh yes, he. After when he came back up, and Henry and the fiddler went, and some of the blue dancers went off with him for a nightcap. They said they were heading back to Stockbridge. up in his exhibit.
Very well, thank you. Any other strange monsters or other happenings?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Cover those elbows, and marches off.
Shakes her head. Continues drinking her coffee. All right.
Sorry, forearms. She has her elbows covered.
That's true.
Forearms. I misremembered.
All right. So, are you heading on?
Well, do we want to go find Norman, or do we want to go see if we can find whatever's going on in his exhibit?
I say we split the party.
Wait, isn't Stockbridge in Norman's exhibit?
Yes, it is.
Okay. That was my.
Oh, all right.
Okay, cool.
So.
Well, then we should continue on.
All right. So you do that thing. Now, in order to get through, you have to go through Dali.
Dreadful.
But Dali, I'm going to say, has been here long enough that it's not it's not too horrible. You kind of just bring plenty of bottled water, and you're usually good. There is a tendency to melt as if you stay there for too long. But you come through. There is an entrance in there. Yeah, last you'd heard there was an entrance there that leads down to the start of the Rockwell exhibit. And so you make your way through these strange sort of landscapes and the just impossibly tall elephant creatures nearby, and then you make your way. It's apparently supposed to be somewhere. The entrance is supposed to be somewhere just past the persistence of memory, now pictured, and you're just sort of looking around. So it's probably somewhere around here.
I am looking for the entrance, and once I find it, I'll go in.
Okay. Whereabouts are you looking in here?
Behind the clocks.
Behind the clocks, okay. The clocks are not that difficult are not really that difficult necessarily. Oh, I've been here again. The clocks are not that difficult necessarily to move because you sort of pick them up. They're very floppy. And
Old wet doormats. Ugh.
yeah, basically.
Laundry.
Someone has actually the one that's hanging on the tree. Someone has on the back of it drawn an arrow. That seems to be pointing. Well, as best you can tell, from the perspective, it would probably be pointing toward the water, sort of toward the beach up here.
I lift it up and show the group, like, hey, I found a clue. This arrow's pointing out that way.
Fairly direct messaging for Dali, but perhaps it's correct.
Indeed.
You don't think that? Someone else must have painted that on there.
I head over to the water and try to gaze at the water and see what I see.
Okay. You head over. You look down. Someone has scratched another arrow. That's sort of painting toward this sort of dark, reflective thing that's lying there, monolith-like, on the beach.
Well, it's either over this way or somebody's just drawn a bunch of arrows that are going to lead us in a loop. I head over towards the platform.
That does seem like something Dolly would do.
It does.
Notorious prankster.
That
No.
is fair.
No realism whatsoever.
So, who's going and inspecting the monolith thingy?
I will.
I'll go take a look too.
Okay. So Son of Man is sort of walks up with Miss Whistler just a bit behind, and sort of look down. Now, on the one hand, you see two things. There's a sort of a white arrow painted on the surface of this that points right back at the melting clock.
Yep.
However, so that tracks. But if you would, as you're perceiving, it seems there's something to be seen within here. So I think now is perhaps the time to roll a thing if you want to.
Yes,
roll
I will.
Yeah.
I will carefully examine the spot. I get a +2 because of when it carefully affects something not within my line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
I will also be careful.
Okay. And do we have a...
I typed it in the wrong chat. I typed it in the
Oh.
Twitch chat.
Yay! Ah, there we go. Yes, that's very good. Okay.
Whoa.
All right. Yes. If you look deeper, you see that in the surface of this thing, there's sort of little sparkles coming up and down it, and then there's a staircase leading down inside of it.
Like inside the surface of the slab.
Yep.
So, like,
It's like a reflection of a
in the
staircase.
space beyond the reflection.
Mm-hmm.
I'll, like, put my hands against it and, like, kind of press into it. See if there's any effect.
Yeah, there's no resistance.
Whoa! Tumble, tumble, tumble.
So, do you go tumbling down the stairs?
Apparently I do.
Okay.
What did you do?
You just see him fall
Fine,
into this
I'm
monolith.
fine.
I will head over to the staircase to go down,
Alright.
which I'm
Be safe.
unbothered.
Okay. So you all, so yes, you all begin to head down. You see, there's a staircase you can descend. Son of Man is the first one to get down there.
Most direct route.
By the most direct route. As
Standing up, dusting myself off, hoping no one saw that. Straightening the derby, lapels.
As you're heading down, you can kind of see next to you that underneath the staircase, you can kind of see the perspective of where it looks like this underneath it.
Oh, goodness.
And it's more of a dissolution that Dali drew later.
Sold this poster at the head shop.
Yeah, disintegration, as it were, and you can see just basically under the water there. It's really weird. But as you get down, it gets colder and colder, and eventually you find yourself the stairs descend into a snowbank, and in the distance ahead of you, you see this among these fields of snow. You see this little town. That's sort of stretching out in front of you.
A distressing pedestrian.
Yeah. They seem to be very happy. People are very merrily bobbing about from building to building. You can see them sort of as they seem to be Christmas shopping and doing all manner of other making merry. Just a bunch of happy people waving at each other, saying hello, and just stopping and chatting with each other on the street, and just kind of hanging out and having a good time, sort of enjoying themselves. They all seem very ridiculously happy to be there. Insanely happy, one might say.
All these people with all this spare time, don't they have any work to do?
Their Mainstein believe their Their belief in mainstream thought forms and rational spatial constructions will be their downfall.
I absolutely agree.
High five to Dora.
And have we been in this painting before? Like, just being in the museum in general, do we notice anything out of the ordinary?
Let's see. Who's been in the museum the longest? In this particular museum, do you want to say?
I'd say mine's been here a while, because I'm a Renaissance painting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, you're painting tours like everyone else's does, but maybe they've been able to keep you here for a while.
I don't think it matters.
I like the idea that they tried to get Mrs. Whistler to tour, and she just objected so sternly that she never moved.
No, I will not go on tour. Excellent. So those of you who have been here for like, say, the better part of the last decade, which is probably not many of you, but maybe one or two of you. It used to be easier to get here before they moved Dolly in. And since that time, it's been a very sort of isolated place. But before then, this was a very much as you see it now. People very sort of happily oblivious of the troubles of the outside world, going back and forth, being very 50s at each other, and sort of happily celebrating everything about life. And at that time, actually, and you can see, you see just sort of, even at this distance, you can see Rockwell's signature, just sort of there on the corner. Yeah, it's everyone is, it's very, it was a very happy place. You actually were here when Rockwell was here before. His self-portrait did tour through here and joined his exhibit for a little while, and it was very, it was almost like 10 years ago. It was a very happy affair, and he would chat with folks, and they didn't really seem to have any tendencies at that time to want to, copy the work of H.R. Geiger, but here we are.
I would like to head over by this group, and that seems to be leaving, and see if they are heading out of the town, and if they look like they're heading out for a reason, or if they're just...
Let me pull back real quick
crazy.
so that I can see who. Are you talking about the
These guys?
Those guys? Okay, yeah, got it. Okay. So.
Because they seem to be leaving all the happiness behind.
That's fair. Yeah, they seem to be aimed out. So you go up. It's this. Let me actually zoom in a bit so that I can see what they look like more than anything else. Yeah, it's a couple and their kid. Let me do that. All right, let me zoom in here. No worries. Sincerely, Norman Rockwell. There we go. All right, just displaying that. And you sort of head down, and they look up and, hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm as well as can be expected. How are you?
Oh, just swell. Everything's really great. Just getting in some last minute shopping before we head on.
Great, really? Where are you heading off to shop across this snowy field?
Oh well, we just came from the store back there, and he says, gesturing to that building with the Christmas tree behind them, and they're just kind of wanting to just see some of what they're going to be doing some lamp lighting here later, and there's going to be a jubilee apparently in the center of town in not too long. And
really?
We might come back for that, maybe, if we can make it.
Just walking around enjoying the greatest economic boom in all of American history, eh? Yeah, you enjoy that while it lasts.
But it's great. It is a lot going on. A lot going on.
So the Jubilee, what is that?
Oh.
Do you know if Mr. Rockwell is going to be here for that?
Oh, he will. He said. Well, I don't know too much about it myself. He got some of the folks out there at the main intersection really excited about it. Like the folks in the barber shop and some of the folks out there, the postman and all. They've been really selling it up. I don't know. Getting a little too excited about it lately, if you ask me. But that's somehow how these folks are.
I see. I didn't know one could be too excited about Christmas.
I wouldn't think so either. But some folks they have their peculiarities.
Well, I guess I won't keep you then. Anything else interesting on the Christmas celebration schedule?
Thus far the wife has been talking, and the husband at this point says, "Oh yes, I think that didn't he say something, honey? Didn't he say something about having some sort of big announcement, some sort of unveiling?" And she nods. "Oh yeah, yes, he did say that too. He's gonna have some kind of he's calling it an enlightenment of some kind going on."
Enlightenment?
Yeah.
Well, that does sound interesting. Are you implying that he has some new work that he would want to be showing?
Well, sounds like it. Some of the folks, again, some of those same folks in there in the center of town have been talking about it a lot, and they're really up on it, but they won't say what it's about. I think some of them know.
Fascinating. Well, that does sound festive. Don't you all think that sounds festive? Well, I won't keep you. You should probably take your small child and get away from the Christmas rush.
The kid looks up. "Oh, do we gotta?" "Oh, yes, I'm afraid so, son. We've got a lot we still need to do." "Oh, shucks." And they pick him up. "It's nice talking to you." And they start heading towards one of the cars.
Happy Christmas!
And a happy Christmas to you too.
I turn to everybody else. Is everybody else thinking what I'm thinking? That if he's going to unveil this new work, that he might be moving in a new artistic direction that could, I don't know, kill everybody in this town?
Maybe we need to find what he's going to unveil and torch the thing.
That's not what I was thinking, but it's only only thing I can think about now.
Let's go find it. Let's practice our stealth skills.
But Janaya gets extra points for almost making the GM spit out his drink.
Yes, that was very good. I very much appreciate that. Incidentally, I've not been good about this. This is the thing that I keep forgetting when I run Fate. Anytime you're doing a thing that's like especially an especial sort of in-character self-compel type thing, you do get a Fate point. And just sort of if you're angling for it, then please just sort of you may feel free to announce it and such. However, thus far, I think everyone has been behaving extraordinarily well with their aspects. So I'm going to just as a fiat thing, everyone may get an extra Fate point at this point.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's where we are. So what you doing?
Where do you guys think he's hiding the painting? I say quietly to the group.
Does he have a studio here somewhere on Main Street, USA?
Are you guys pals with Rockwell? Who knows him well?
But they did say that there were people in the center of the square that seemed to know what was up.
Let's go question him.
Did they mean the center of this floor, or did they mean the center of this painting?
Well, they said the center of town. If you've been here before, I can't remember who it was who said that they'd been here before. But usually his studio shows up on Main Street, which is behind this where these are. There's a side road you can connect to that goes up, and that actually turns into Main Street.
Got it. Okay.
strangely enough. Side roads turning into Main Street. How does that work? I don't know.
Or city planning, that's how.
That's how, exactly.
He's been hanging out in the Escher wing too much.
You know, right? So, presumably you head up that way, I'm guessing.
Yes.
If that's where his studio's room purported to be, then
That's where it usually shows up when he's in town.
that would be my vote.
Okay.
Are there any torches or candles or anything around?
Yeah, there are a lot of folks going back and forth caroling. They're carrying candles. There probably there's like probably you see like a box of them near that church.
Okay, so
There's a church right there.
I'm gonna grab a
that a
couple.
church?
I'm gonna light one.
The Williams Sonoma store
We
certainly
need a
is.
torch of painting. I got this.
Yeah, they've just got candles for free because no one could possibly do anything bad with fire.
Yeah, and I strap the gun to my back, and I got candles. Very candle lit.
I love these. This image gets better and better. Okay, so as you kind of head into town, which I need to resize down here so that folks can see it, who are staring at us from their homes. Yeah, it's less snowy in the center of town because this is a different painting. And you do note that things do look a little... The studio doesn't seem to be anywhere in sight, which is a little strange. However, just sort of looking things up back and forth, I will comment on some features in some areas, some things that you might want to or have the ability to look at. Obviously, you see there's the gas station on the corner. The grocery store looks like it's got a closed sign on it at the moment. It's closed for Jubilee. There is down here a place that I've decided is a barber shop, where there appear you sort of hear distantly hear singing inside. There's an area sort of off screen in this direction, where sort of past the cafe. So actually further sort of down beyond the street, where there's on the other side a sort of big sort of snowbank where kids are playing with a sled. This cafe is open, and yeah, those would be the main areas of interest around this intersection.
Well, that man did mention that the barbers were very excited about the Jubilee.
It's a good place to start.
Okay. As you sort of drift toward the barber shop, you can start to make out some of the singing coming from inside. You kind of get closer, you can see through the window. And they're across from it's like across from the post office. You see these fellas, who are there singing inside the barber shop. And
I love the one with like half shaving cream.
yes, just sort of sitting there and singing merrily. What's slightly more disturbing, though, is that what they're singing about, because you just, as you're getting closer, you just sort of very briefly hear that it's like the word evisceration, which is very difficult to rhyme with, but somehow they manage it.
In 4-part harmony, huh?
In 4-part harmony.
Oh,
And
boy.
as you're kind of coming sort of near the door, it's like, from the bottom of our hearts, we're gonna tear you apart. And they seem to be singing about tearing people limb from limb. It's very strange.
I got the gun.
Is this
Put the
what you
candle out and get the
weird
gun out.
modern people are up to these days? Looking at Dora and Sunny.
Oh, not at all.
Not generally. Usually just a lot of extramarital sex, drinking, smoking, and communist theorizing.
Yes.
I feel like that happened in Florence too.
I mean, Rockwell specifically is not generally known for this kind
Maybe
of
not the communism, but
Yeah. And one of them, as they're finishing their song, the one on the end just sort of smiles and gestures for you to come in.
I got the door, guys. I'll watch the door. I have my gun ready.
I have my feet ready to go.
I'm kind of watching behind my shoulder what they're doing in there and kind of watching around us at the same time. So, seeing who's.
walk in.
And you just sort of, one of them says, "Hi, you need a haircut?"
Sure, high and tight like normal.
All right, let's do
They
this.
might cut off your apple.
He says-
I've got plenty more.
He smiles at you, and so you see he has elongated teeth.
On second thought.
Oh, are you sure?
I guess it's not too long yet, yeah.
Well, all right then. Be sure to come back from the Jubilee. It's going to be great.
Sure. Hey, where is that Jubilee?
It's just going to be, well, I haven't heard that yet, but they're going to be posting the flyer soon. Anyone who's outside still? Who is outside still? Anyone?
Me.
Okay.
I am.
You hear this sort of psst, and you sort of look around, and you see this. This fellow just sort of coming up from the gas station. This mechanic, and he's just sort of gesturing. He's like really
I'm like, can I help you?
kind of very gesture. And he just sort of points at the gas station. He turns and he walks quickly back inside.
I'm just gonna push on the door and go, you guys, I think we're a little bit late. Probably no time for a shave right now.
Oh,
I tap
shucks.
the glass with the butt of my gun to get their attention inside.
They wave at you.
Have a good day, fellows. Take
I'm
my
trying to
exit.
gesture to the party. And I tell the if the party decides to come out, I tell them what I saw.
Well, perhaps this man will make some sense.
Yeah, he wandered off toward the gas station. So
All right. As you head toward the gas station, you see him sort of at the front door, and he's like, "Come on."
I'm like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? I go in, I follow him.
All right.
Hopefully it's not a trap.
He kind of leads you into the back, and there are a number of folks gathered there in the back of this thing, and they're sort of sitting around, very concerned looks on their faces, and in the sort of the back of this. In this workshop, and he just sort of turns and he looks up. He says, "Hey, you folks from outside?"
I'm from a different painting.
Well, clearly.
Yeah, I figured. Listen, something's really wrong here. Mr. Rockwell's been acting really crazy since he came back. I don't know what's going on with him, but it's not like him.
Came back from where?
Oh no, well he's been on tour, right? And so he came. He hasn't been here for like a decade, but he wasn't like this last time he was here. But
H.R. Giger's images of darker technoeroticism has broken his mind.
maybe, I don't know. He started doing something like painting over some of the townsfolk here. I don't know what's going on with him, but it's not good.
Wait, you can do that?
Oh yeah,
Oh no.
he can.
Is that how Dora ended up the way she is?
Oh no, honey, I was just born this way. Okay, so what exactly, other than painting over people, what has he done? And what people have he painted over, and why hasn't he painted over you?
Well, I've just been keeping my head down. It's mostly been just a few folks inside here. Some of the kids, some of the folks in the barber shop, the postman. But it's like he's trying to bring out some sort of enlightenment, and he wants people to be able to, like, I don't know what he's going to do, but he's sort of been talking about sending everyone out to get everyone from the other paintings. I don't know what it is, but I've been trying to, do my best to pin things down, but to pin things down here, but I don't know. There's a lot, and the guy with the pipe up there. Yeah, no, there's something very peculiar. He's doing something in that barn of his out of town. His studio didn't show up this time. That's the problem.
What barn?
Oh, it's if you follow the back road here, turns to a dirt road, and that's usually where he's doing his painting now. It's his work. Usually his studio shows up, but it didn't show up this time. I don't know why. There's something up with him.
Have you been out to the barn ever?
Look, we got families, and lately I've been out there before, yeah, but we haven't wanted to, it's going up to him. Let's just say he's got a bit of a magnetic personality, and any of us sort of have this instinctual thing because he painted us that, it's hard to resist him,
What was there when you went there last time?
Well, I mean, no, just a farm, mostly empty farm before he got here. But now since he's moved in and he's working in the barn there. I don't know what he's doing.
I say we check out the barn.
That seems to be the logical choice.
Or walking.
I mean, no, we can drive you down if you want. You got to pick up.
Oh,
Let's do it. All right in the bag.
perfect. I
one of
demand
those
to
things-
be in the front.
Yeah, it just feels different when we're around him from the way that it did last time. It wasn't anything the way it was last time. I don't know what happened. So you pile into a pickup truck, and
Can I grab a crowbar on my way out?
there are plenty of tools here. If anyone would want to grab anything. Get to that. Let me turn off the Christmassy background here.
Is there a cigarette lighter anywhere?
Oh yes.
I grab one of those.
So you say he painted you, but he actually didn't, because he is a representation of the man who painted you in Ock.
Yes.
My apple hurts to its core.
That's too good. Oh my god.
Ooh, man, I might get really crazy. Can I get a small gas can of gas?
Yeah, there's one right there.
All right.
Are you making one of those Malta whatever cocktail things?
No, I just need some fuel to start some fires in case this new canvas is out of control. I'm gonna make sure I do it right the first time.
Well, I've heard that you need some cloth to finish that off. Here, somebody give me a rag. Preferably
Oh, I don't
flat.
want to make a bomb. I just want to pour
Thank
it
you.
all on the ground in a circle and light the match.
Yeah. They'll give you a rag if you want one. They will drive you up to the to where the barn is, to where the farm is, and there it is, or was.
That looks like a murder barn.
Let me see.
Haha, yes it does.
Let me see here. You should be able to.
1920s Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. And they drop you off a little distance away, and just sort of hide a little ways down the road. What you doing?
So the barn is this red structure in the middle, not like the hay barn
Yeah,
on the side.
the red
Okay.
structure there.
There's windows. Let's spy on him. See what he's up to.
I
Yeah,
like this
who of
idea.
us is the sneakiest?
I'm a little stealthy. Anyone else more stealthy than me?
I'm pretty sneaky. Plus, I have bonuses to like look around corners and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's your guy.
I've got the partially hidden from sight aspect too. So yeah, I'm actually pretty good at hiding behind this here apple.
Yeah, I'm
Alright.
better at hiding than I am at looking, but I also have a 3 sneaky.
That's not bad.
And I just kind of watch the area as they're plotting. Make sure nothing weird comes out.
It's like I am sneaking on up there to the window and peeking over.
So you sneak up. Would you go ahead and make your roll of such a thing?
Absolutely. That's 3, and I want to make sure this goes really well, so I'm going to spend a fate point, one of the newly acquired ones, and tag partially hidden from sight. Bring that to a 5.
All right. Now, let me. He will. Let's see. What's in the way that he's kind of being observed right. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, that'll be fine. All right. So you peep in through the window, and the first thing you see is you do see him at his canvas actually as he appears at the in that self-portrait of his. You got a 5. Okay. But there, I'm actually even gonna change the main view for this because there's something I need to point out, real quick, as we're looking him over here. Let me move the banner. There you go. So, as you're glancing in, you note first of all, is that's sort of where his signature is. First of all, first of all, up here, where the face usually is, where he would sketch himself. That page is not currently facing. What you do see is something that looks kind of like Henry VIII. And you sort of see in the corner he has Henry VIII tied up and unconscious. He also has the fiddler tied up and unconscious, and a couple of the blue dancers.
That's all the people who are at the lakeside.
Yeah, a bunch of them. Also, the favored priest is lying there unconscious as well.
Didn't he have his chest burst out? The guy who had his chest burst out?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mrs. Whistler stabilized him.
Oh, that's right.
Got an idea, guys. So I'm gonna pour gas around the building. I don't know who's charismatic and can tell him if you don't let people go, I'm gonna torch the barn.
I'm gonna point out one other thing that.
Give me the rest of the reconnoiter here.
One other thing the Son of Man does notice, as he did as well as he did. This signature is kind of wrong. It doesn't look like the one that you saw outside.
Berman Knockwell.
Yeah, it's like, well, the edges are not rounded like that, and it's they tried to make that signature, but they couldn't quite get it.
As though he's an imposter. Ho ho.
This man is a forgery.
Yeah. And I do not see what is on the painting.
On the painting itself?
Yes.
Like up what he's painting? No, he's painting.
Where his? Yes.
Yeah, he's painting in Henry VIII.
Okay, so he's painting in Henry VIII.
Yeah. It looks like he's trying to make a copy of him.
I wonder if he's rewriting his vital essence to make himself look like, in this instance, Norman Rockwell, but perhaps Henry VIII. That's my crazy theory that I'll talk about later, but right now I'm going to go back and give a debriefing of everything I saw. And I'll toss that theory out there, too.
Indeed.
Should we threaten to torch the barn? I hold up the gas can.
There's a lot of people in there.
Well, what I'm thinking
but I barely know them, so, you know.
Is we gas around the barn and we go in, hey, let go of our friends or we're going to torch your barn.
Well, but then what do we do? Torch the barn and burn our friends down?
Oh, no. You guys get the people out and we torch the barn anyway, if he doesn't play nice.
Then how do we get the people out without him getting out?
Can someone restrain him? Who's strong? I got a
If they're
gun. I'll point my
restraining-
gun at him.
Okay.
I'll be like, if you move, we'll get you. What do you guys think?
I think perhaps a larger problem is the fact that he has managed to subdue 4, 5, 6 people. I don't know how many blue dancers are in there, but at least 4 or 5 people who
Henry
I
the Eighth counts for 3 or 4 of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
is mighty.
He's got some heads with him. Who I believe were all in there and conscious at the same time. And so how did he accomplish that?
That is a very good question. We don't know the extent of his abilities at this point. Or even who he is. I mean, if you're right that he himself is a forgery, or is able to forge himself into something else, he could be, I don't know, he could get away. We'd never know.
Well, one way to find out.
Question to you, Apple Man. Do you,
I'll allow it.
did you see his reflection in the mirror? Did it still look the same?
It's a very good question. Did I see his reflection in the mirror?
From time to time, he sort of, as he was moving a little bit, not very much though. He wasn't really looking into it.
Keeping in mind, I have a unique perspective and don't conform to three-dimensional perception.
That's true. Yes. Actually, yeah, looking around, there was a reflection of him in the mirror. It was not doing quite the same things that he was doing. It didn't look particularly perturbed or anything, but it was...
Didn't sync up properly with standard optics.
Yeah.
It did not sync up with proper optics, however. It was the Rockwell we know and love. Love? We appreciate on a geeky manner.
Yeah, it's like it wasn't... Yeah, it's hard to say.
What is spatial relevance really in the grand scheme of things?
That's fair.
Were the other people at a place that that he was looking at them, or?
Well, he's got Henry off, sitting, sort of perched up, unconscious on some bales of hay, and in the opposite corner he has the others. So he wasn't looking at them. The only one.
And they're all unconscious. They're all unconscious
in various states. The blue dancers are probably, it looks like at least one of them is, they're like semi-conscious. One of them seems to be more conscious than the others. The priest is completely out. The fiddler looks like he's probably pretty close to consciousness.
Well, I could try to sneak in through the angles and flat places.
Ooh.
And try to free some of the people without him noticing. But if he notices, you guys are going to have to be ready to run in.
If he notices, I'll make a distraction. And I'll load the gas can, and I'll probably, what I'll do is, whatever window's closest to Rockwell, I'm going to, try to sneakily watch. And if he catches her, I'm going to, knock on the window and, start a fire. Just in that contained area. So that there's such a debacle, and that hopefully they can get all the other people out.
There is something I'm going to do now, as we're getting close to time, and I don't want to keep anyone over. I am going to do, and forgive me for doing this, but I'm going to just kind of go around and ask each of you what your part in this plan is, what you're doing, and sort of we can crystallize that down to a single roll. For each of you, and then I will roll a bit of opposition, and we will see how this comes out, and that will determine how well this plan goes. How does that sound? Okay? Does that sound reasonable?
That's fine.
Okay. So, in your observations, you have noted. You take a little time. You sort of look. I will mention that as you can kind of see what you're up against. The version of him that's in the mirror actually occasionally sort of he stops for a second, and it's like as he's painting comes from behind the mirror and seems to be talking to him for a second, and then they just have a conversation, and then he goes back behind the mirror, which is weird. So he doesn't seem to be confined in any way, but he is sort of like left-handed instead of right-handed, that kind of thing. It's sort of a reverse image. From time to time, he'll you then sort of, if you shift really carefully, you can see sort of in the corner, there's the third version of him, which is very tall and pencil drawn, with a really big head, and like an eraser for a hand. So there are 3 of them in there. Now I'm going to go around, and if you need to discuss more, we can do that. But I'm gonna say first start. Who do you want me to start with? Who wants to take point on this?
I'm going to create a distraction, and the way I'm going to do that is I am going to start singing Ave Maria, because one of my aspects is ideas above his station. Mm-hmm. And he has secretly been taking voice lessons, which his father didn't tell his father about that, because his father would have highly disapproved. He wants him to take over the hardware store. But no, Blue Boy just really loves music, and he especially loves classical religious music. So he's going to start singing Ave Maria at the top of his lungs, and he has a beautiful voice.
All right, I'm just going to roll once now for Rockwell, just so we see what the opposition sort of numbering is here, and we'll go from there. Okay, I got a 4, so that's what the difficulty we're looking at here. And so you are singing flashily.
I am.
And you pulling anything? Well, actually, you can, if you want, you can roll first, and then we can see if you want to pull anything else in.
Sure. Let me get this pulled up here.
And
there's my character sheet.
Conflict has begun.
Ooh.
All right. Oh, okay. Now, do you want to hit an aspect of some kind to? I'd probably guess you might want to re-roll that rather than just add. But
okay, when it says I have a +2 for a stunt, which is what I'd like to use, does that mean that you're adding 2 successes to the roll, or you're adding 2 extra dice to the roll?
You're just adding a +2 to the final total.
Okay. Well, I'd like to invoke my stunt, or actually possibly, because that won't help me, I'd probably want to re-roll that. So I'm going to spend a fate point and re-roll that.
All right. Which aspect are you tagging to re-roll?
Let's see. I'm going to tag the painting aspect.
Okay.
Because he has extremely good posture in that painting, and that will help his singing voice.
Okay. Right,
definitely.
Go ahead and
All
re-roll.
right, so let's re-roll this. And we're going to do flashy again.
Okay. Do you want to?
There we go.
Do you want to? Okay, that gives you a total of 3.
And this time I do want to use my stunt.
Okay, for your for the.
Yeah, my stunt is because you have a flair for the dramatic, you gain a +2 bonus when you want to flashily distract someone.
Okay, so you totally have it. You're starting to sing. You're out, standing out there, and he immediately is going to get up and come and look, as his legs were. They are distracted. Who's next?
Awesome.
I'd like to go next. So I'm gonna sneak in. I'm gonna sneakily sneak, and I'm going to use my stunt, which is because you are used to odd perspectives, you get +2 when you sneakily hide or move between small spaces.
Right.
And my goal is to basically turn dimensionally sideways, go through the crack of the door without opening the door.
I love it.
And then sort of flatten across the floor in the corners and go over and untie everybody and try to nudge them awake.
All right, let's do it.
So,
Jim, I'm going to help her out. Give her like a help action since I can affect things I can't see directly.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
I'm
excellent.
going to help her out, which I think is a +1 if I remember.
Yeah.
okay, so do I just roll sneaky and then we add the bonuses after?
Yeah. Oh.
Woo!
Okay, so I believe that's enough. Yeah, since you've got the +1 for helping, and then you have. Yeah.
2 for the stunt, right? So it's like 8.
Yeah. So you're succeeding with style here. So you actually manage to get in, and you crawl under it, and they're like, huh? And they're actually, you're doing this kind of just sort of popping up in front of them as this happens, and they're starting to move around. Henry jolts awake as this is happening. He's like, oh my god, and he's actually slightly more free, so he's starting to stand up. And he's like and helping you out as well, because he's
Can I use that then to just create a boon for anybody else in the room, which is helpful friends, which is that there are people that
Yes.
that they can expend to have people come to their aid.
Yes, that will definitely help. Okay.
There you go.
Who wants to act next here? Does Pearl want to go?
I'm being a troublemaker, so while everyone's doing their thing, I'm like, da, 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 and I'm just like dumping gas around the barn.
Like you do.
I think I'm gonna get into a position where I can keep an eye on those crazy doppelganger painters, and if I see someone else like having trouble getting out of the barn, I'm gonna do another distraction, use my I guess I'm readying an action to use Mistress of Distraction, and I'm gonna be like, hey Norman Rockwell, with my lighter, and just drop it onto the gas and kind of shake the gas can, and then I'm gonna get like a healthy pace away and have my gun ready.
Okay, I think
Let's come up
we
to.
can. Well, what we can do is basically cram that all into the action you're taking here, because that sounds very good and thematic for the way you've got this character set up. You want to do this with, let's see, do you want to do this with, you could do this with, I give you either quick or sneaky on it.
I'll go with quick, because I want to make sure I can react in time.
Kind of, yeah, you're lightning fast.
Things are in a pickle. Yeah.
And so go ahead and if you nice. Okay, and yeah, you beat what was necessary. So.
Burning down the barn.
So yeah, everyone sort of gets herded out as this is happening, and once Rockwell and his cronies, his crony selves, get out of the barn, sort of trying to surround Blue, they look up just a moment too late as you drop the lighter, and everything begins to burn. A merry bit of merry burning. It is in utter chaos.
Yeah, if I see the Rockwell, I have them right between the thing of my gun. I'm watching them.
Awesome. And shall we come around then to Mrs. Whistler?
Yeah, so the situation is the barn has caught fire and they're outside the barn, the Rockwells. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I think she's gonna go over to the one that's been drawing that Rockwell, and like, I think she's gonna whap him with the cane, and get a knitting needle to his throat, and then just yell at him a lot. Yell at him. What do you think you are doing? You are letting these monsters out, and they are going they're doing all kinds of havoc. How could you destroy such a noble man's work? And they may be too happy and idle for my taste, but they are still a work of art. Like, just for a while.
All right. So that is awesome. That definitely sounds like a forceful thing to me.
Yeah, and ultimately wants to get him to say what the heck is going on.
All right.
So I'm gonna use forceful, and we'll see if I end up needing an aspect or my excellent stunt, which this is very much my stunt.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, right now you're at 0. You'd need a 4.
So, well, I think I can do that. How do I make a stunt happen?
Well,
is that a fate point?
It's just if you're in that situation, it applies.
Okay. Well, because you are an expert at parental guilt, you gain a +2 bonus when you forcefully dress someone down,
Oh, yeah.
show them
So
up, or otherwise
So
embarrass
you're getting
them.
a +2 to the roll one way or the other. So,
so
I mean,
that's
it's really
+2.
effectively a 2.
And then can I'll use a fate point in order to bring in my grave disapproval.
Ah, yeah, no, that's totally there.
Yeah.
All right.
And so that
that's-
makes it a 4.
Okay, so that ties. You can see that he's sort of struggling. He's like, and the other two just are looking around. They're not sure what to do. Would the Son of Man like to do anything to help out here?
I was assisting.
Oh yeah, you were assisting.
Dora.
Dora.
So did everyone make it out of the barn?
Everyone has made it out.
Okay.
And so
Can we assist by using fate to invoke the helpful friends and have those people also be yelling at him?
can totally do that.
Add in the intimidation, yeah.
So I can spend a fate point for that.
feel
I
free.
probably should have re-rolled in retrospect. I'm
Oh.
not likely to get 3 negatives again, but whatever.
Well, you got you got
There we
your
go.
bonus in, and they're like, okay, fine. As everyone is recovering and is coming forward, and they're joining you in your epic berating, and he's like, all right, fine. Damn.
The cone of intimidation.
Yeah, the
the
cone of
eye of
intimidation
Sauron has
lowers.
passed to Norman Rockwell.
And so yes, he basically is like, all right, and the others are like, enough! You only get this horrific woman off of me. I'll do whatever you want. And the other two just sort of raise their hands. So in the aftermath of this, as it turns out, as Rockwell explains that he was essentially trying to gain more power for himself. This is not Norman Rockwell. The real self-portrait of Norman Rockwell is not in this museum. The painting that's in this museum is a forgery. And the thing being that if you paint something and you're a painting, you get its energy. You get it to expand your space. He explains this, and but submits to your justice, as you have clearly caught him unprepared. The Jubilee will not be happening. He was preparing to try to do it to a bunch of people in Stockbridge at once. But that will not be happening. So what do you want to do with him?
Let's tar and feather him.
Right in the turpentine.
You tar and feather the Rockwells.
Tar and feather him and then give them manual, difficult labor.
Good medieval punishment. Mhm,
Yep.
Yeah. mhm.
Yep.
The people of Stockbridge are rallied, and they run him out on a rail, happily singing as they do so. And he is
Disturbing.
and he is sentenced
Christmas carols.
to painting prison, which in this gallery probably is
Escher?
the only cages really enclosed territories up here are up in Geiger. So Madam Lee is probably going to be watching him for a while.
So everyone at the festival can go shame at the tarred and feathered Rockwell. That's a good festival.
Congratulations! You have saved the your mystical painting land. Thank you so much for playing. That was delightful. That was very cool. Very cool. Sorry I had to rush a little bit at the end, but I want to make sure we're out here. So thank you all so much for playing. It's much appreciated. I'm going to go around and we're going to do outros. And everyone can just sort of say what they thought of the scenario and where folks can find you online. Anything, and feel free to plug anything you like. And I'm going to start go the opposite way. So I'm going to start with Elise.
So hey everyone, my name is Elise. You'll see me as D&D Elise on Twitter. I am a streamer. Right now I've been really focused on DM skilled writing, so we just released with a ton of other really cool writers Undermountain, The Lost Chambers. It's over 75 pages of dungeons you can add to Dungeon of the Mad Mage or other Waterdeep and Undermountain campaigns. We have Halaster's Horde coming out soon, which is like well over 100 pages, like traps, magic items, all kinds of cool stuff. I'm a big time spellcaster, so I wrote a lot of like orbs and magic staffs for that compendium. So more coming soon. Yeah, put some links in the chat.
Very cool, very cool. How was this? Was this all right?
Oh, it was hilarious. Like that's the first time I've tarred and feathered somebody in a TTRPG, so I can check that off my to-do list. So
Very cool. Thank you so much for playing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, thanks for having me.
we'll go back, continuing clockwise, with Janaya.
Hello, I'm Janaya. You can find me at Janaya pretty much everywhere. I am on other people's channels playing games. I do not do games on my own channel. On my channel, I stream art and art nerdery. So if talking about weird stuff about paintings and painting history is sort of a thing for you, you can follow me on Twitter and find out when I'm ranting about weird stories from the history of art. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and I enjoyed the game. It was sort of neat to sort of picture the idea of how the different paintings would work together. I can see how it would actually be really fun for a longer term game and sort of pushing into those places of like why Whistler's mother hates cubism and why the cubists hate the entitled aristocrats, and like there's a potential for a really neat social game here that I think was really cool.
Awesome. That's very cool. Yeah, I don't know. I've never considered a longer form thing here, but you never know. You never know. We're going to continue around the backwards clock to Susan.
Hey everybody, I really enjoyed playing this game. Thank you so much, Jem, for DMing. It reminds me, the setting reminds me a lot of a board game my brother and I used to play as kids called Auction, and there were actual forgeries in the box, and you would attach nobody knew how much the paintings were worth, and you would bid back and forth for them and stuff like that. And it really reminded me of that. And the whole idea of being able to walk inside a painting and create a story out of the things that you see in it is really cool. I love that. I really enjoyed playing the boy in blue. I think he looks like a jerk in the painting, but then as we played the game, we found out that he had some really cool kind of esoteric skills, and he could keep it together under pressure when he needed to, which is awesome. Even though he kind of looks like a little bit of a inconsequential character when you first meet him. You can find me on Twitter as Tai Chi Susan. And I also stream with the Dice for Brains podcast. One of the things that we like to do, and one of the things I enjoyed about this game, is bring new players to the table. We primarily play Star Wars, but we also play Harry Potter and Genesis and things like that. So if you'd like to tune in, we have a Twitch channel also.
Awesome, very cool. I also just want to mention, as we're going by, feel free, folks, to drop your links and whatever in the chat if you want to do that. And let us move around to Josh.
Hi there, I'm Josh Burnett. It's good to play with Jim again, as well as just talking to him in general. And all these other folk are brand new, and it's to me, and it's good to meet you all. I'm at Bernie the Flump on Twitter, bernietheflump.blogspot.com. Elsewhere, I also do stuff with my friends at Hex Games, makers of Quags. Currently, right now, I'm working on a DCC zine for Dungeon Crawl Classics called Crepuscular that you can find on RPG Now or Drive-Thru RPG. The only podcast or streaming or anything, the only broadcasting of any sort that I'm on currently is I'm on Gilbert Isla's Pig Smoke campaign on the Steam, Steal, and Murder podcast. And no, I enjoyed the game here. I like the real kind of surrealist, dreamlike quality to it. Reminded me a lot of Puppet Land. So no, I enjoyed it, and I'd do it again.
I need to try that game out one of these days.
I've never played it either, but I've read it years ago and always wanted to, and just never found the right group.
Awesome. Well, it was awesome finally getting to play with you. It's been a while. I can now check that off my bucket list. I've been wanting to do that for a very long time. And finally, back around to Jane.
Hey everybody. This was super fun. I always enjoy playing very silly characters for one shots and like wreaking a little bit of havoc. So this is great, and I enjoyed. It took me a little bit to kind of get into like how broad and open the system is. I definitely feel like it's something that I would enjoy coming back to and like having a little bit of a better idea of how you use all your stuff and how flexible it can be. But yeah, so it was super fun. I loved the premise a lot. So thank you so much, Jim, for having me on again. And then you can find me on Twitter at CellarDoor10, and I'll throw that in the chat in a second. And then you can also find me on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Central, playing a D&D 5e campaign over at Roll Control, and I'll also throw that one in as well. So we'd love to have you over there as well. My character over there is real different.
Excellent. Very cool. Awesome getting to play with you again. Really, really cool. And I just loved how wonderfully you turned the berating on it. That was so good. That was so good. I have not had a chance to see Whistler's Mother's played in this game, and I'm so glad that someone took that character finally. Excellent. Well, folks, once again, I'm Jim Ryan. I really like this scenario, just because, among other things, it shows how flexible fate is. But aside from that, I just enjoy the gonzo-ness of it, basically. And glad I got to dust it off finally. Now that I've started streaming. And I loved how you all interpreted the characters. It's always different every time I run this. Everyone has a different take on each of these paintings, and I just really enjoy seeing that get realized. And just that I'm going to keep that image I'm going to have in my head now of the girl with the pearl earring with a big musket and a lighter is going to. I'm going to remember that for a very long time. It was really good.
Yeah, I had no idea the girl with the pearl earring was quite such an anarchist. I love it.
Good.
Seriously. She seems so sweet in her painting. Who would know?
Who knew? But as for me, you can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter. My website is JimYesThatJim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've put links down below on my Twitch page to my Twitter, YouTube, and website, along with a link to a very silly short story I've released on Amazon, if you'd like to check that out. And incidentally, if you'd like to play in any of these one-shots that I've got coming up in December, you can go down and click on the RPG sign-up link. I've got info and sign-up forms there. Here on Twitch, every Tuesday evening, I play Urban Shadows over on Off the Table, which is an awesome channel. But on this channel, on Friday afternoons and Saturday mornings, I play video games. Then no RPG this coming Saturday. Every other Saturday, we play Cold Ruins of Last Life, which is a setting for Dungeon World, where we're all playing undead characters. Then 1 week from today, on Sunday, we'll be starting December's one-shots with Dirty Secrets, a sort of GM-less game that crafts a detective story. I think we are going to go ahead and raid Grimjack after I go to the Grimjack 21502, doing once again Project Athena, which is an excellent Call of Cthulhu game they're running. After we go to the end card, if anyone wishes to stick around for that, feel free to do so. And actually, I misspeak. I'm not exactly sure whether this weekend is Cold Ruins of Last Life or it's. We'll have to check the calendar on that one. But we'll see. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, folks. This has been awesome. Take care, and I will see you all of a sudden. Take care, folks.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. You were great.
Thanks, everyone.